again, back with book 3 for Narnia, which was The Horse and His Boy. This one I do have my talking points wrote down. And well, let's just jump into this one. If some people haven't seen my Narnia Attack, which I believe has already gone out, you know that this one was my hardest read, my longest read. There was only 15 chapters. And I struggled, especially with names. I hate to say that, but I'm very bad with different names. So our main cast members for this time, if I mispronounce a name, I'm sorry. We have Shasta Avarius, possibly. That's the one I had the most trouble with. Outside of, you know, oh my goodness, my cats. Pip's here now. Bree, we had Bree the horse, Hwin the horse. We had, obviously, Aslan. Then there was Rabadosh. We had 3 Pevensies present, though Peter was referenced. It was the other 3. We had Lucy, Edmund, and Susan. There was Prince Corin and King Loon. There was also the Trizrock. That's basically the king of Tashban. And obviously Tash has been referenced a lot, which if you don't know is one of the really, really bad people. But we don't see him yet. He's only referenced. So our chapters is how Shasta set out on his travels away side adventure, the gates of Tashban. Shasta falls in with the Narnians, Prince Corin, Shasta amongst the tombs, Various in Tashban, the house of the Trizrock, across the desert, the hermit of the southern marsh, an unwelcome fellow traveler, Shasta and Narnia, the fight in Anvard, how Bree became a wiser horse, and then Rabadosh the ridiculous. So, this one, oof, Tiffany gave up on this book. She didn't even get past chapter 3. She read that, and then she got to where the Pevensies come back in, which is in chapter 4, because this is, if you don't know timeline-wise, in technically the time of Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. They are older now, so it's been a very long time. I say very long time. It's been a few years. They've been in Narnia. They've been ruling as kings and queens. They've started using these and those, which you would have known if you read Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. And she cannot handle that, so she gave up on it. But, yeah. So, she gave up on that. Starting out, for some reason I thought this was going to be about the Pevensies, because, you know, I don't know. Edmund had a horse. But I was under the impression that this was going to tell a backstory about what they were doing before they went with the White Stag, and I was very disappointed when it was not the Pevensies as the main focus, and it was this child. So, big disappointment there. But that was on my own. That's all me. I don't know why I assumed that was the case, but that was the case. Starting out, we find out that this child, well, he lives with a man that's not his dad, and this guy that's pretending to be his father is rather cruel, and he's just gonna sell him into slavery because why not? He wants the money. So clearly that's not gonna go over well. And he goes out. He was already outside because, you know, you're not allowed to be in there when we're talking about that kind of thing. So he meets this horse, which is Bree, who is a war horse. And he's talking. I know that that's an Arnian. He just thinks he's going crazy, which is cool. I mean, wouldn't be all that shocking if he did go crazy. So he believed that he should have always gone north. which is more or less a plot point throughout the books. I've noticed that north is very important. So always going north, he always wanted to go there, and Bree's like, hey, yeah, well, I need to go that way because I want to go home to Narnia. I'm getting ready to run away. You want to come with me? They do. But he's bad at riding a horse, so that's fun. Bree is very, very annoying. And just because he's almost belittling him more or less the whole time for a very good long while. So that was annoying. But not very long into the journey, they think that they're being followed. But hey, turns out these lions are chasing them, and that's why we meet our other set of main characters, which is Avarius and Bree, because they're being chased and they end up meeting up. And at first they think, oh no, we're gonna get caught because it's a lord, basically. And they're coming, oh no, they notice that I'm not who I say I am, we're gonna just go home, and I'm in doom. Yeah, that's not the case. She goes on eventually, once the lion is gone, to tell them that, no, I'm just fleeing an arranged marriage to an old guy. I tricked my dad into thinking I'm doing a human sacrifice in the woods to Tash, and, well, me and my other talking Narnia horse friend are leaving to go to Narnia because I don't want to get married. Good on you, girl. Escape that cult. So they basically set that up to be an enemies to lovers because those two did not get along, but come on, those two are going to end up together. They have to, right? I know it didn't work out for Polly and Diggory. Oh my goodness. Stop it. Stop. I'm so sorry, my cat. Again, my kitten. She's a pain. When they were being chased by the lions, I pretty much knew. There's not that many lions referenced. I know there was a lion in Chronicles of Narnia that wasn't Aslan, that, you know, Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Oh my goodness, come here, you fart. Let go. Come here. Come here. I apologize for the cat. Honestly, I should have put her in for a nap, but I had the impression that, hey, yeah, that lion's gotta be Aslan, right? We don't see many important lions. He's still kicking about. Makes sense that he'd be there. He'd be the one that would bring them together so they can journey together. They eventually make it to Tashban, which they have to pass through so they can go north. That's where her fiance lives, so that's fun. Also, one of her friends lives there. They get separated in this large crowd, which, you know, expected. Oh, my cat nearly just went into the trash can. Good for you, girl. You can jump up that high. Sorry. Proud mama moment. Anything to distract me from this book. Great. So they get separated, and they end up where she ends up with her friend, and he ends up with the Narnians because they believe he's Prince Corin? Corin? Either way, I'm gonna go with Corin. That's a red flag. I say red flag. You gotta mean not this. He's gotta be a long lost sibling, right? At that point, predictability is my thing. So, not shocking that he'd be a twin brother. Just saying. Susan's there because, you know, Prince Rabadash wants to marry her. She's very beautiful for being a barbarian. I'm surprised she didn't just shoot him. Like, war could have easily happened, but, like, in the same breath, would anyone have really missed him? Really? Did anyone miss Rabadash? If Susan just, you know, shot him and ended all that, but no. They end up fleeing, so we don't see the Pevensies for a while. I'm sorry if you can hear Gracie. Ivy has jumped up to where she is, and technically I should probably go deal with it, but I'm gonna finish this review. Let them hash it out. They need to get along anyway. So, Shasta is hanging out with them. He finds out that, hey, yeah, we're gonna escape. And that's when Corin ends up sneaking back in, because, you know, and realizing, hey, you look like me. You look like me. Good luck. You're all escaping, and I gotta go find my friends. So they part ways. He heads to their meetup place, which is the tombs in the desert. And we flash back to whenever she meets up with her friend, who I called Larissa, because I couldn't pronounce her name. And yeah, the friend and her try to get out, because they obviously, if you get separated, we're going to meet up at the tombs. And, well, they got separated, so she was going to help her friend get through the castle and out the gate so she can just get there. It was a hassle. But they overhear the plot where Rapidash is like, hey, yeah, they've slighted me. I'm going to go take my woman and lay waste to Narnia. That's not going to end well. But they overheard the plot. Whenever they finally part ways and she meets up with them. Now we're on a time crunch to get to Narnia. But we gotta go through the desert. Fun fact about the desert, there's jackals. And while he's waiting on her, he spends a full night there in the desert alone with a cat that roars and scares off the jackals. Which clearly, if you know anything, that's gotta be Aslan, right? So they go through the desert, and I hated every second of the desert. I don't like those long journey parts, and deserts, as well as ocean travels, are usually my top two that I just cannot do. Darling, I'm gonna have to pause. Terribly sorry, my child decided to get onto the stove. She doesn't know it's a hot box yet. She's never actually, you know, tried to when it's on, but, like, I don't want her to get into that habit. So, you know, no stove for baby. Anyway, so they're going through the desert. I hated the desert. One of the hardest parts for me. Eventually, they get through the desert. Even though they're on that time crunch, they end up having to spend time with a hermit. Because another lion! Yay! This one comes out to basically push them a little bit faster, because at that point they're through the desert. They're so over life, and they gotta climb up a mountain. So, he's a more or less gentle push, but Bree bolts, and he leaves everyone behind to deal with the lion. He runs and he gets to the hermit. Okay, what's going on? Grace! She's in a mood. And she's a dramatic tuxedo, so she's fine. She's just mad at the world. Avarius gets clawed by the lion and has to spend time with the hermit while Shasta runs to tell the people that, hey, yeah, King Loon, you're gonna get invaded first. They don't care about your life. They just need to get through you to get to Narnia so they can get to Susan, and please help. King Loon is the Prince Corinne's dad. So, you know, he has at least some sort of standing with them. He doesn't go to that kingdom. He ends up going to Narnia, where they sit to have more food. Anytime they have food, I know you need to have some sort of realism, so they know that, hey, yeah, cool, you're alive, you have foods, you, ma'am, are a menace to society. Eat. Literally just talking about, you know, food, and now I'm making my cat have some food. He gets there, they have food. Someone sends word to Lucy because she's still there. Peter went off to go deal with another battle. Of course he did. Susan and Edmund's ship had yet to return, but by the time, you know, the news gets there, it has. And they all go off to go fight to protect their alliance in the other kingdom, then, you know, just to stop Rabbitosh and his army before we can actually get to Narnia. To be fair, Susan stays home. He's like, you know, she's had enough. Could have just taken that, oh, just a little bit earlier. Susan dealt with everything. That would have been so great. But, you know, whatever. Be what it be. We have Shasta and the prince sneaking along, and they go off into battle. Meanwhile, we're dealing with the hermit that's watching everything, kind of like the magic crystal ball. So he can see everything, and Aslan shows up to deal with Bree and the others. Hween is a saint. She doesn't really do much. She's just kind of there. And he deals with Bree because, you know, he feels very guilty for abandoning people. And then he deals with Avarius because, well, whenever she left, her maid got in trouble. Because, hey, yeah, you slept and my kid got out. So the stepmother had her dealt with, she got beaten, she was lashed, and that's why he went through and, you know, taught her a lesson. Don't do that, that's kind of really scummy. And she apologizes, she asked about how the maid is, and he refuses to tell her because that's not her story. He's not going to tell her a different story when it's all about dealing with her right now. Obviously they win. Rabbitosh's army is dealt with. And hey, yeah, I was right. He is indeed the long lost twin. Congratulations, Shasta, you are now Kor. Because we have Kor and Korin. Darren, I believe, is his uncle's. So, you know, it's just kind of a thing, I guess. Eventually, you know, they don't go to Narnia. They end up staying in King Loon's kingdom. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's probably that Onbard. But, you know, it's fine. They end up getting together! Cool! I was right about that. So, 3.5 stars, I'd say. Would I read this again? Probably not. Needs more Pevensies. It was my hardest read. I can't see myself willingly going back unless I force myself. That's probably the only way I would do that one again. I didn't have issues with them being all these and thous, like Tiffany did, but I was also raised on King James and New King James version of the Bible. King James especially was one that had these and thous all over the place. So I'm used to that. That's no issue for me. And yeah, it was a decent entry. I do not see myself doing it again though. And that's 3 out of 4 done.